Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Yes You Pod.
The podcast where we put you back in community. My name's Emily.
And I'm Evie, and we are on the 13th episode of the podcast today. Super
Slay!
excited, as always.
Yes!
And we're back after a little break.
I
Miss
know.
Emily, girl, she was in Ohio. She
I
was
was,
dancing. She was worshiping.
girl, we
She
was
was
with,
that girl.
oh my gosh, everything happened. Also, disclaimer, I sound like I'm infected with the bubonic plague. So just preface, just a little disclaimer. You're gonna hear this for the next half hour to an hour. So, with peace and love, yeah. That's no, I'm not contagious or anything. I just have a simple cold, but my immune system is trash. So, but yeah, I was doing everything, and I think my body just caught up with me. So it's
Right?
like, oh, so
It
yeah.
was like you gave it your all for sure. And I was like, she came back. She really gave her all over there.
Girl,
Like,
I was like, but I was literally running on. I literally calculated. I think I slept the entire week like 30 hours
oh
the whole
my
week,
gosh.
which is like average like 5 hours a night.
Mm.
Um, which sucks. But you know what? YOLO. And now I'm facing the consequences of that YOLO. Um,
It's always
but
worth it
hey,
though.
I know it is. I'm like complaining, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I had like the best week. But hi guys, what a podcast.
Yes,
Um,
we're here. And like I said, we were on a little break. But
yeah,
I've been looking forward to like just talking with you.
I
Um,
know. We need a
and
little
just
girl
catching up.
bash. I
We
know.
haven't even
Oh
seen
my
it,
god.
guys. We haven't seen each other in a minute. I'm trying to
Like I
think.
literally, I
I
know.
can't think. I
Oh my
can't remember.
gosh.
That's so bad. Can you
No,
remember?
Evie, come
Was it for
over.
the
No,
worship
no,
night?
no. You're lying,
No. Yes, it was.
Evie. Come over right
That
now.
was. I'm on my way, guys.
Okay,
Just pause your phones. I'm gonna go drive to Emily's house.
okay.
Just
Yeah, everyone
kidding.
pause right now. No, but oh my gosh, it's been so long. But Evie, how are you? I know we talked, but how are you? How
Yes,
are you
well, Miss
really?
Girl, how am I really? Well, stressed, tired, none. Uh, just to be completely honest, it's been quite the week, quite the past few weeks. But you know what? Today was actually one of the better days of the week. It is Friday Eve, so I feel good about that and just excited for the rest of the month. I'm looking forward to whatever God has planned. I think right now I'm in a season where I'm just very observant, very
No.
I don't want to say like I'm trying to be more intentional, and I'm also like to myself, like to my feelings, what I like, what I don't like, what I want to change,
Yeah.
and what I want to be serious about. So in this season, I think I'm just here, and I really am just like I'm okay. I'm okay. Um, and it's honestly not that bad of a place to be. Um, but yeah, I had a great past weekend. It was like we were doing similar, like I was at a conference, we were in Ohio
Oh my
performing in a whole
gosh.
competition. I'm here for it. I love to see us living our best lives
Dude, wait, what
simultaneously.
the heck? Like we were doing so much. And at the same time, which is like crazy. Like that's genuinely
Really
insane.
crazy.
But oh
Insane.
my god, I love that.
I love it too. And today we're gonna just get into a lovely topic. We've actually talked about doing this behind the scenes like a few times. We're just like kind of have just put off like when we were gonna do it. Just because it's a one of those topics. So the topic this week is growing up, and we're just gonna touch on
Mm.
some goals we had in our childhood, some lessons that we learned along the way, and kind of how that just portrayed into how we are now, how that affects us now as we're a little bit older. Um, and so we're gonna just hop right in. We're gonna start off, Miss Emily. I'm gonna ask
Ooh,
you our first question that we're gonna get into, and it's just like, as a kid, like, did you want to grow up? Like, did you have that angst to be like, oh, I can't wait to be a little bit older, or did you just enjoy every single second of your childhood and wanted it to never end?
Honestly, I think I found myself in both spheres. Like when I was like really, I don't know, like between the ages of like, I don't know, when I was like 5 years old to like 7, before I gained consciousness. Um, I think I was okay with being a kid. I got the privileges of being a kid, like being cute and getting away with stuff. Um, and then as I got older, and I feel like I was surrounded by more older people, I wanted to grow up more. Like I wanted to be like
Yeah.
them. I wanted to live their life. Um, and like I think I wanted to because it was already happening. Like I was already
Right.
growing up fast. Um, and so I kind of was like, oh, I want to rush it even more. Um,
Hmm.
which we've discussed was one of the, not so great things about my life was that. But honestly, yeah, that was for me. What about you? Did you want to grow up fast, or did you kind of like want to take it slow, or just be kid?
I think now I wish I would have appreciated it a bit more, but I think when I was like, in elementary and stuff, like you don't think about when I'm 18, like no. I think it's really just when you're in like middle school, like starting to get those privileges of like, oh, I can start driving. And then you're like, oh no, I want to grow up. I can't wait to be 21. Can't wait to,
Right,
have a little bit more freedom. And that's when you start to like, for me, it's when I wanted to like kind of grow up faster just because I wanted that sense of control that you don't have as a kid. Um, so yeah, I think that just kind of started when I became like a teenager. I think when you're a kid, like I didn't really think about like, oh, and I should start thinking about my future, and that wasn't like a worry. Which that's why I wish that I took it more, not serious, but like appreciated it more because you
right,
really are not just careless, but you're just like you're so much more happy when you don't have any worries.
right.
um, but I can see what you say when you mentioned, you know, uh, you kind of want to rush it once you're in it. You
Yeah,
don't realize like how that plays an effect, and it's just really wild. It's just one of those things where we're kind of just navigating, and we don't realize like, oh, I'm another year older, but like, oh, I'm getting older. Like, I
yeah.
have to
No,
process what this all means.
it grows on you. Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, I love that. And honestly, it's not something you realize till it happens. So, I mean, hey, happens to all of us. But another thing we have here is what is the single most important thing you learned as a child? Um, and has that changed or developed, or has it, is that still the most important thing you've learned so far in your life?
I think something, and I feel like it's a not a it's like a typical answer for us. Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
think it would just be like our faith. Like when
Yeah.
we first put this question in, like I was like, it would really be that like there was, even if the foundation looked different, like we just knew that God existed, and
Right.
that was
That's so
something
good.
that I wanted to continue. I just maybe didn't know how as when I was younger, like, or just because there's so many different like religions and motives and just like teachings, and you don't know what like where your faith lies. You just know you have faith.
Right.
um and I think that was the most important thing I learned, like, hey, God exists, like, and
Yeah.
we still have to pray even if we're not in a place, or we still have to pray because God is protecting us.
That's so
And
good.
my dad would always be like my mom too, but I remember my dad always coming in. He would always come home like after midnight from work. He used to work 2 jobs, and he would always come into my room and he'd always pray for me and like pray with me.
Oh,
And I was like, he was so intentional to do that. And I was like, God, like, I remember being little and be like, wow, like we believe in, like, this is something bigger than me. And I
right.
think that for me was like, it hasn't changed. Like it's been something that still is a big part of who I am. And, our faith is, not just the things that we do, but how we believe and how we encourage others. And it's this, again, like the scripture, like it's a substance of everything. So
Right.
that would be for me, but I don't know if that's similar for you, or is there something else that maybe you learned as a child that you still hold on to, or has it changed since then? Like, what would that be?
Honestly, you just preached to me. Like, I think, like you said, I think that was. Um, I always used to say, like, I literally flashback. I used to think, I was just an overthinker as a kid, as I am now. But having a kid imagination, you think of everything. And I remember, like, sometimes I would think about, like, oh, if I wasn't born Christian, like, uh, where would I be? Or like, because all I've
Right.
known is Christianity. Um,
Yeah.
and what faith would I believe in, or where would my family be? And as a kid, you're thinking, well, I would be hanging out with my family more on Sundays, and just small things like that. But in
Mm-hmm.
reality, now you think like, if I wasn't Christian, I wouldn't be here probably. Um,
Right. Yeah.
but I think that's one of the most important things. But also, I think um, how to value myself as a human,
Yeah.
and knowledge. I think that's something that I learned from my dad. Like, um, my dad's always trying to learn things. He's such like a an adventurer, I guess. Like he's always
Mhm.
trying to know. He's always trying to learn.
Right.
And I think that's the value of knowledge is something that I learned that I didn't understand fully until I'm older now. But I think that's something that I learned really young. Being able to um, always look for more knowledge, always educate yourself. Um, and now I think it is one of the most important things. But like I said, I think I'm understanding it more now. Like understanding how much power knowledge holds and
Right.
wisdom holds, and which is why the greatest kings ever reported in history only asked for wisdom. That was King
Wow.
Solomon,
Mm-hmm.
um, and yeah, I think that's my biggest lesson. But I am still learning because you can learn something and it's very hard to practice it. But that is my
Right.
biggest lesson um, that I've gone through so far. But yeah,
And you carry that so well, like now. Like I always tell people, Emily is not her age. Like, like
uh,
in because your soul is like not a, no, I don't want to say like an old soul. Like don't take it like that.
old
But like you're
so
very,
no,
but like
yeah,
you're very, very wise, very, very knowledgeable. Like I learn something new from you every day, and you use these big words that I don't even be knowing. Like she's so
oh my
smart.
gosh,
But like you said, there is something new to learn every day, and it's true. Like, and it's so crazy how we don't realize the effects that maybe like our parents have on us and things until we're like older and can be like, oh yeah, like my dad did teach me this, or like, oh, I
yeah,
didn't pick up how he used to do this and I do this too, or my mom used to do this habit and I've picked it up. It's kind of like those silent influences that we've always had, but never really like fully considered, I guess, until now that we're like older and realize, oh snap, like that is super like so and so.
yeah,
Um, but I love that. And I don't know, like it brought me back to again, like that those influences and another one of our questions. And I know it's like it's weird because I feel like we're still little. I always think that I'm so little. I'm
of
22,
course,
but
yeah,
I'm still a kid.
right. I'm
I'm
just a
still
teenage
figuring it
girl.
out.
I will forever be a
Right?
teenage girl. Yep, 40
I'm,
years old.
I'm,
I'm just
I'm,
a teenage girl.
I'm just a teenage girl. Yes. I think of the commercial, I'm a big kid now. And like,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
a real big kid.
yeah. Oh my god, I
But
did.
when you were like little or, in elementary school or middle school, like what did you think your life was going to be like when you were older? Like did you have these big plans or did you think you were going to be the way you are now, or like how did you see yourself?
Oh my gosh, absolutely not. And I think honestly, I was just thinking about this. Like every year, I get surprised at where I am. Like
Hmm.
last year, never thought I would be here. The year before that, never thought I would be experiencing the things that I did last year. Um,
Right.
and I think as a kid, my mind was like, once I finish being this age, I'm gonna be my parents' age. Like that was for me. That was the only lines of it. Like I'm
Yeah.
either a kid or a complete grown up, and
Hmm.
I think like that. Like I just imagined my life, obviously as a kid you don't think about, bills or responsibilities. So I'm like, oh, like I'm gonna be, my thing that I wanted to be was a rock star. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna be traveling the
Yes.
world, like I'm gonna be like all doing these things. But that kind of for me was, I think that was my thing. I think as well, my family too. Like I don't think I saw myself. I saw myself being in these dreams, but I also saw like everything being the same. Like
Mm,
I'm not a person. I love what change does. It, I don't love how change happens. Um,
yeah.
but I think I always saw everything. Um, I would still be with my parents, and they'd be the same age forever, and my brother,
Right.
and I would still have the same friends, the same family circle. Um, and so honestly, yeah, I kind of, as I had these big dreams, but I thought things would be the same.
Hmm.
As now they aren't at all.
Yeah.
Um, but what about you? What did you think your life would be like when you were older?
I just, I think, like you said, not realizing that everything else is gonna change, but just thinking that we're like, obviously, we're the main character of our stories. But I literally, just like you, I was like, I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna be married when I'm 20. I want to have all these things. I just always, when I was younger, a lot. Everybody knows if you know me for a long time, since middle school, since elementary school, since high school. I told everybody that I was going to be on Ellen, and I was going to be that one person
Amen.
that won the money and made it. And
I'm
I even won
dead.
an award in school that was like most likely to be on Ellen, and they just made that for me because I always talk about
Wait,
it.
amen.
But
No, that's
it was
like heaven.
like it
Amen.
was a
Oh
big
wait, she's
thing. Like
canceled
I was
now.
like, I'm gonna
Oh.
be. She's canceled, but like we appreciate who she was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the
She did
show's
a lot for
gone,
the
but like,
community.
come on.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we have to appreciate.
Amen. Yeah, exactly.
Matt Ellen being canceled.
Oh my
No, Ellen,
gosh.
I love you. I love you, Ellen. If you're listening, I wanted to be on your show. But like big
Amen.
dreams of like,
Yeah.
oh, like I want to be in a, I want to have a talk show and like these things. I just knew it'd be something like that, or like I
Yeah.
felt like that was gonna be something for me. And obviously, like fast forward to now, I never thought that I would be having a podcast or like
Oh.
doing spoken word. Like that's so out of my,
Yeah.
it's something that I didn't think was in my element, or I just thought I didn't know what I thought. I think I had an idea, but I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get there. And it's not about, you know, it's not really about how you get there. Like sometimes, yes, it is the process, of course. But it's like, okay, but like, do you still have faith that you can still get there? Like, I still have faith that we can
Right.
still do all the stuff that we wanted to do when we were little. We're doing it right now.
Amen.
It's just part of the
Yeah.
process. So I think like yes, like there is so much uh hopes and dreams that obviously it seems unreachable because of the circumstances we're currently in. But it's like it's not impossible because everyone's doing it. It's just like
Right.
how we want to go about it. And so yeah, I just thought when I was younger, like it was gonna be easier. It's not.
Oh yeah.
that was
Oh, 100%.
that was the only thing. I was like, it's gonna be so easy to be famous. Like, but it's not
I
about
know,
being famous.
yeah.
I
No, but
just thought it
it's
was just
those
gonna be
dreams.
so quick.
And that's so funny that you like mentioned that. Like there's things happening now that it's the dreams that I had before kind of reimagined. Like
Right.
I said it to, and talking about my past week, I competed in a national competition, which I don't think I told
Come
you.
on.
We placed fourth in
Come
the nation.
on. And the
That was, I
nation,
don't think,
guys. Come
in
here.
the nation for dance. And it was
That's
such a moment
crazy,
for me because it was
Emily.
like, no, but for real, like I was crying too. I remember walking out. I'm not gonna cry right
Oh.
now. I remember walking out of
Oh.
the thing,
I'm gonna cry for you. It's okay.
and I was like hugging everyone because it was such like a moment because everyone was like working hard for it, and I had joined last minute, so it was like a big thing. Like that was my thing. Like that was what I joined for,
Right.
and even before we knew the scores, everyone was crying, and I think it was like, um, excuse me. Also, the song that we did was Love Note. That's
Come
our
on.
song. It has such a
Yes, it's
meaning.
so our song.
Um, And honestly, like, this whole thing has been such a blur, but such a good, like, craziness because just that, like, last year, we were, Evie, last year, we were literally singing
Yeah.
that song and it became such a big moment. Um,
Well,
when I was in New York last year, it was a big moment for me with that song.
right.
And
It
now,
was
like,
literally a year ago, 2 days ago. They were made that
yeah,
video of us
no,
singing
it
Love
was,
Note.
oh my gosh,
The
like, that's
yeah.
so, it's so insane, but it's that. And I remember walking out of the room and everyone's crying, and I was just like, I was just so relieved that it was, not that I was relieved that it was over, but it was like, oh my gosh, like, I did it. Like, I was so proud. And I remember
Right.
walking out of the room, and my mom was standing there, and I cried before, but I didn't cry when everyone else was crying, and I hate that
Right.
because then I'm just like, I'm such a like llorona. So when I'm not crying when everyone else is crying, it's like, okay, bad timing, because I always cry at the wrong moments. Well, not the wrong moments, but like
So
I'm the
me.
only one crying, and then when everyone else is crying, I'm not crying, and it's not that I don't feel it. It's just like, I don't know, my tap is out. I don't know, but
Right. Exactly. I felt
it
that.
literally happened, and everyone was like crying, and then I walk out of the room, and I see my mom, and
Oh.
she like hugs me, and she was like, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, thank you, mommy. And
Oh.
that's when I broke down. And it was this like, I remember, whew,
You got it. You
I
got it. You got it.
remember being in this room right now, and I'm like, I'm sitting here, and it's like this spot exactly. I used to have this little tiny iPod that would only go to the radio stations. It wouldn't record any music. It would just go to the radio stations. And I remember um, being here like at 2 a.m., 12-year-old me in this room. And I would listen to these radio stations and I would make up my own dances. I would make up my own choreo.
Yeah.
And it's things that, like, as a kid, I love dance. I love dreaming big. I'm not flexible. I'm not a professional dancer, but I had dreams.
Right.
And I was so passionate and I believed in myself so much. And I would literally imagine myself dancing and being in front of people. And in that moment, I was hugging my mom. It was like, um, like that girl that was 2 a.m. dancing in her room, like, this is her.
Yeah.
And she got to see me dance.
Yeah.
And it's those things of like, as you grow up and you see yourself and you see your progress and you see the way that um, your dreams become reimagined. Like, never would I ever think that I would dance at a national competition like that.
Right.
But I did it, and it was, in that moment, it was like, wow, like, this was what I was dreaming of. Like,
Yeah.
not just something that just happened. Like, this was like out of my dreams, it became
Exactly.
reality. And I think
Wow.
that's like, I never, I hoped and I had passion for it, but I think I was holding on to my dreams as just dreams and not reality. And I think
Mm.
in that moment, it was like, wow, like, my dreams became a reality. And again, it was so last minute, and I had such imposter syndrome right before. Like, I was already crying in the bathroom, and I felt like, wow, am I even supposed to be here? But then in that moment, like, I remember having I had like one headphone in, one headphone out, just in case my parents woke up and heard me dancing in my
Right.
room, trying to be, a dance television show. Like, I would, oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing, but I I had these like tights, and I would I would, like, I don't know, I had this like, it was a onesie, but it was, I would like roll up the onesie to be like a unitard, like a leotard.
Oh. Yes.
And I literally tried to put like tights under, and I wanted to be a whole ballerina. Like, literally, this is me thinking right now. But anyways, yeah, track. Um, it's things like that where it's like, little me has no idea how special her life turned out, and I'm so happy that for a while I felt hurt because I was like, she's stuck there in those dreams.
Hmm.
But in that moment, it was like she saw me.
Right.
Like I didn't care if audience loved me. I didn't care if anybody else saw me. But in that moment, it was like that girl who wanted to be you is seeing you now, and she's so proud of you, and she's watching you dance with such passion and have fun and not care about technique, but just have fun and worship God because it is worship.
Right.
And that
Yeah.
was such a special moment for me. But yeah, girl. Oh my gosh, that was
Ugh,
what a
you made me
moment.
cry.
I'm
You made
literally
me
hold on. I need a
cry.
little minute so I can like blow it out. Okay, but yeah. But it was like, oh my god.
No, I'm so proud of you. Honestly, just being like your friend and just literally what you said, like we don't when we're little, like we have all these dreams and then we think, okay, this is not possible, or like it isn't like this can happen for me now because this is not what my life looks like. But there's a reason that God puts in little fires and little passions in our hearts because he knows that's what we want. And there's a reason why we have these little obsessions, and it's not just because like there's a purpose. And so
Right.
the fact that you were able to finally and the perfect timing do this dance that had much more meaning now, and like you were just being prepared the entire time and it meant so much more to you now that you're able to do it with
Oh
the
yeah.
people that you were doing it with, and in the space that you were doing it with and who you were doing it for, like
It was.
that was so amazing and beautiful. And I was like, oh, like I felt that so badly. Like it's just
Oh
those
my
little dreams, and
gosh.
then even to have your mom do like such a special moment. And I'm proud of you, and thank you for being vulnerable. Like that was beautiful. Like really, like I'm like
Oh my
inspired.
gosh.
I'm like
No,
so
and
inspired
literally,
right
like,
now.
no, and afterwards, I remember, like, I was sitting in the lobby and I was like, oh, I want to do a solo next year, and I want to do this next year, I want
Yeah,
to do that next year, because it's like, and you also like, you accomplish one dream, you feel like you accomplish all of them, like it literally, like,
right.
so like it's one foot in and you're running free, but oh my gosh, yeah, crazy, crazy
That's so
moment.
beautiful. I loved every second of that. I want to cry again.
Oh
But
no, no.
no, I love that. I love that so much. And I'm so happy. And I'm going next year. I already told you to watch you.
Slay.
But another one of our questions, which is a biggie. Um, do you have, or what would be, just maybe like your biggest regret about growing up? Obviously, it's inevitable, like you're gonna grow up, but
Yeah.
like, what's something that you feel like you kind of left behind, maybe? I don't want to say necessarily regret because it could be changed. You're still, we're still growing up, but
Right.
yeah, what would that be for you? Something that maybe you left behind.
Uh, oh wow. Dang. Okay, something that I feel like hope.
Mm,
I think that like and this season it's been that like realizing the dreams that I had before and living them now. Um, I wish that I kept dreaming and I kept having that hope that I did as a kid.
yeah,
Because God only knows the things that I could be accomplishing right now, and I know everything has a purpose, and I will never miss anything that's for me. But um, it's so nice to see that I get to experience the things that I dreamed about. But I also wish that I kept that hope uh, throughout my seasons. And,
hmm,
maybe I would have accomplished them sooner. Maybe not. It's just me thinking. But I also, biggest regret is feeling that I would be left behind if I didn't grow
hmm.
up. Um,
Wow.
and we talked about it as well. Like, I, my life just moved so fast that I did grow
Right.
up fast. But I have this really big fear of getting left behind. Uh, and honestly, like, and it's so dumb, kind of, but I recently, like, I don't know what happened, but I think my mom was going to the store or something, and I'd gotten ready, and she was like yelling at me like, "Oh, okay, that's just I'm late. I'm a late person. I time management need to work on it." But she ended up
Mm-hmm.
leaving, and like obviously it was just to go to the store. But I remember being like, "Well, I didn't want to go anyways," and
Mm-hmm.
something that I do to deflect and make me not hurt as much is to kind of lose interest in something. Like, oh, I didn't
Yeah.
want it as much, so it's okay if I didn't have it. Um, but I think that like it does hurt to be left behind, and it was something so small like that, but something bigger like that, it's or like emotionally getting left behind,
Right.
and
Like that
seeing the
was like your
people.
trigger. Maybe not
Right?
like your trigger, but like
Yeah,
it was like an example of like, oh, like, I understand completely what you're trying to say.
yeah, and it's like something that it just reminds me of it. Like it's,
Mm-hmm.
I think in my past, I wanted to be certain people, and I think in order to be those people, I had to shut down who I was. And when I talk about, and in that moment when I was saying like I was hugging my mom, and I felt that she was with me, like that girl Emily, she
Right.
was with me. Is because I have felt that there's a Taylor Swift song, as our
Come on.
our mother Taylor
Our
Swift,
queen.
our queen. It's a song, Right Where You Left Me, and in the song she's like talking about it. It's a crazy heartbreak song, but she's talking about how like she's still stuck in that moment. It's like, help, I'm still at the restaurant, still waiting at the corner you haunt. Yeah, I love that song, but it's I feel like I've stayed in those moments where it's like if I look at a timeline of my life, I'm stuck. Like different versions of me are stuck there. Um,
Wow.
and I think that's my biggest regret is not taking all of me along and loving all of me. And I feel like I have lost parts of myself along the way, um, trying to be somebody else. I think that's my biggest regret. But I also know that in this season, I'm also getting her back.
Come
And
on.
along with her dreams, I'm getting her back.
Yeah.
And I'm reliving the things that, again, only in my dreams I thought I could relive. And her dreams are becoming my reality. And I think that's the best
Well,
thing I could do for her. But yeah, that's my biggest. But I also have hope for that. But what about you? What's
mm.
your biggest regret about growing up?
I think it's just being too insecure. Like it's a major I think now with social media and just the way that world evolves so quickly and all these apps and stuff like that, it's easy to kind of just fall in that loophole of like, oh, like people care or they're watching me, or just feeling like we have such an eagle eye at all times and people really don't care that much. But it's like we have this mindset and it's really just mental. Like it's all just mental. It's all just us like
Right.
feeling just not okay. And I think one of the things that I wish I remember being like little. This is so embarrassing. And recording these covers, and I didn't care how they sounded, and I would just post them right away. And I wouldn't even
Slay.
play them back, and they sounded horrible. Like,
Slay.
like
It
I
builds
know it sounded
character.
bad too. And I would sing
Slay.
like price tag, and I was like, it's not about the money, money, but it
Not
sounded bad.
price
Like
tag!
no, but it sounded bad. Like not even like.
Is that just Jessie herself?
I wish.
So
I
then
was
you,
trying to
that
be
was on you.
someone, but it was like I had no cares. I was like post, like like just not caring. And
Amen.
now, it took me like 20 days to find the motivation to post one video, and I'm like, dang it, like like what happened, like, and it really just is, like insecurity, like oh, who cares, like who is really being impacted by this, or like who's really
Right.
paying attention to what I do, and I think it's just that negativity. I think that my biggest regret is I think it's not even something that I had then. It's like the now. It's like my biggest regret now is having those feelings because back then that was so good. Um, I think growing up, I was so confident. Like I was much more confident. And hey, like I'm not gonna say that right now. Like I haven't failed. Like I have failed in some stuff,
Yeah, of
but
course.
it just I'm more self-conscious of it now. So I wish that I had that innocence again, like of that, oh, the no worries type
Yeah.
of mindset that we used to have.
Sweet oblivion.
Um, yes. And because I think, like you said, we could go so much more further if we don't have those things tying us. So yeah, I think the biggest regret about growing up is just that, like now, like it's the now part. Like, what happened? Like, what did society do to shut us down so much?
Yeah.
Like, and half of it, I'm not gonna blame everything on society. Half of it, is our mindset. But like, what happened? Like, where did
Exactly.
that differentiation come from? Was it like our influences or the kids we went to school with? Like, 'cause I remember being so happy, and then people just like not liking that,
Hmm.
and would just be like, why are people so mean? like, like,
Yeah.
it's just like what happened? Like, what turned people, even kids, like I think we all had such an innocence, and then there was some point where it just like dropped, and I was like, "Whoa! Like,
Yeah.
why are we
That
sad?"
realization. Yeah.
Like, we never. I don't think there was, even though we went through our stuff at home, like when we were with friends or in school, like there was really nothing to be sad about.
Right.
And then we would just be sad just because. Like, I remember just being sad just because it wasn't okay for me to be happy. Like, people didn't like that I was happy, so I made myself be sad because that's what seemed
Wow.
normal. Like, that's
Yeah.
horrible. Like
So
that, at least I felt the need to change my feelings to please other people. Like, I wish that I didn't care so much back then. Again, like I wish I just didn't care so much. um I think that would be like, that's one of my regrets. Like, I just cared too much, and even now, like I still care too much um about little things like that. But it's just crazy. It's just to look back and be like, wow, like, that's that's just how it was. And that's just, I was even talking to, shout out to Josh. I was talking to Josh today and Sam, and we were just talking about
love
like
it.
uh, our elementary school and how me and Josh went to school together, and like the stupid things kids would say, and how we
No
would,
way.
and fourth grade, bro. He remembers me from fourth grade. I'm like, dude, I don't even
Oh, that's
remember. Like,
crazy.
I forgot that we went to the whole elementary school together, but it was like elementary school. And so we were talking about how kids would be so mean and the things that we would say, but we didn't realize.
Yeah.
And it just really is that, like, when you're a kid, you don't realize like the impacts that you have, and and things like that. But it's just so funny to look back on, and it really just was that for me, like caring and how that affects us now, like, you know, that sweet innocence and oblivion, like you said. But yeah, that's pretty much
No.
that's pretty much it. Like on that side of things.
No, that's literally, and we were talking about that like literally what yesterday, but or earlier today. No, yesterday. That sometimes we just want to be like not what's that word? Um, well, I guess oblivious, but uh, yeah, like sometimes we want
Yeah,
to be oblivious because we don't want to see people differently, but we also
right.
just don't want to see the realities of life. Like
Exactly.
it's hard. I'd rather be like I literally sometimes I'm like I don't want to hear it. Like I just
Yeah.
I don't want to be in situations where I become aware because it's just awareness hurts sometimes. Uh, and that like child oblivion sometimes I wish we could have that back. Because it was peaceful, but I know that in awareness we grow. It just sucks sometimes. It's hard, but yeah, but yeah. And one of our last questions is, what is one thing you want to say to your younger self? One thing that you can say to her.
Um, this is sad. It's not sad. I just think of like little recap. Now you made me think of the little Billie Eilish song with the little, it was like girlhood. It was
Yes,
girlhood.
yes. Oh my god, did you
I
see
was
that? Oh my god,
so,
I loved
uh,
it.
I love this trend. I really love this trend of girlhood and like growing up in these videos of, oh, I'm gonna cry later, but I'll make a video. But I would just tell her like, I guess just don't stop and just be happy. Like, just stay in that happiness.
Yeah. Oh.
Like you're gonna need it. Like, and just keep loving on people. I think, like I mentioned, like easy. It was so easy to be happy, and people were trying really hard to like to make you sad. Um, but just keep being yourself because you're weird and people like that. And it's okay. Like
Oh.
it's happy. Like you could be happy. Like there's no reason to be so sad and just to be what people want you to be. Like I would just tell her like just to be yourself, like to keep being yourself and don't change your feelings for other people and don't change your the way you believe. I think something that was so pure about childhood and that whole thing is just like everything was so everything is so big when you're little. Everything is so big, but everything feels so reachable. And it's like I said, like I don't know why that stops for us, but it would just be like to keep believing, like just keep being happy, like keep being yourself. That would be like something that I would want to tell little Evilise. But what would be one thing you'd want to say to your younger self?
Okay. One thing I would say to little Emily is that you're not too much. Um, I think that over time, I have kind of put in my head that I have to be a certain something to be loved. Um,
Right.
and I wish I could go back to the beginning and just say, like, no, just as you are loved. Um,
Hmm.
and appreciate being a girl. Appreciate the color pink and zebra stripes and friends
Hmm.
and fights, even little girl fights. Like,
Yeah.
appreciate every moment that when you get to this age, it's gonna feel like no, like it's gonna feel like weird, but um, hold on to everything. Hold on to being able to laugh. Hold on to your laugh. Hold on to your funny, not so funny jokes. Like, um, those are things that makes you you. And it's crazy how literally I was thinking about this literally earlier in the shower, an hour ago in the shower. I was like, recently, like I don't know, I don't know what it is, but like this past week, everyone's like, "You have this like such a funny personality," and I'm like, I feel like I've always been this way, and I haven't realized it. But it's also like I feel like I was so scared of being too funny or
Yeah.
too much
Uh-huh.
because some people don't laugh at me or laugh at my jokes, or think that
Uh-huh.
I'm funny or think that I'm cool. But I think just to hold on to that, hold on to you being a girl and you being funny and amazing and sweet. Like you are so sweet. Um, hold on to that and appreciate who you are, because you're not her forever.
Right.
But man, oh my gosh,
I'm such a
this was
crybaby.
so
I'm literally like
nice.
sobbing over here. I'm like,
No, no, I love you. I love you. I love you. I can't. It's hard. You don't want to push her away. Um, but we grow up and it's hard to move on because you feel like you have to let her go, but she's gonna be there at every moment. She's with us. That girl is with us. She's never too far away, but we are living her
ah,
dreams.
I'm such a
Oh
crybaby.
my
I'm
gosh!
literally
Stop!
sobbing.
I literally love you. Stop! I love you.
No, I love you too. And it's just everything that you said, like, it's so true. Like, it's just so crazy. I'm literally sobbing, but it's like, again, like, I just think, like, what that, that, like, part of us that we always wanted to please, like, was, like, that part of us now is everything that we want to please when we're little, because we know that it was so hard. Like, it felt so hard to please her. It felt so hard to like get to the dreams that we wanted to. And so when you like say like, oh, I was able to dance, or that healed a part of your inner child, or like even doing the things that we do like on a daily like or do right now, like it's just so crazy to see how God works, and even to look back and look at videos like that on our webcam, like it's really that. So I love you. I'm so happy that we talked about this.
Aww,
Obviously very
this was
much
so
needed.
healing.
um
Yes.
Very healing, very healing.
Amen.
But guys, you heard us cry today.
Oh
So
my god, yeah, you heard us
congratulations.
be very personal, but listening. Oh, I'm so happy
No,
we
but
did this, but thank you guys so much for listening and crying along with us and standing us not being able to breathe, both from sobbing and both from me being sick. So, but
yes, Emily, I know she needs to cough real bad. So with
oh
that
my
being
god, I've been
said,
holding it in for an hour. Oh yeah, it's right there. But we love you
guys, thank
guys.
you
Thank you
so
guys.
much for listening. Yes, make
Yes.
sure to subscribe, make sure to listen in, tell a friend,
Yes.
send this to a friend, someone that you grew up with, or maybe someone in your family. We're so happy that we get to do this. So make sure you comment a next video idea with who you want to see and what you want to see, when you want us to talk about, and make sure you share it on
Everything.
Instagram,
Instagram,
YouTube,
TikTok,
TikTok,
YouTube,
Spotify,
Spotify,
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. There you go. We got it.
Yes,
Right.
but
Well,
we love y'all and we'll see you
we
on the
love you.
next.
Yes. We love you guys.
Love ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Love y'all. Bye.
Love you. Bye.